Good evening, friends. How you doing? Day 269. Just want to come in, share some thoughts with you today. But before I do, I just want to share some amazing news for myself that for the first time in like 3 weeks, I got a full night's rest of sleep. Yay! I don't know how many hours I actually got, but I think it was around 8.5, maybe even 9 hours of sleep. So I was like, I woke up like, is this real? Did I actually sleep through the whole night? And I believe I did because I don't think I got up one time during the night. So I was really, really excited about that. And so, but I just want to share some thoughts with you guys. As my title says, does unvaccinated mean that someone is anti-vax? And number one, the answer is no. And the reason why I want to bring this up today is because I had a number of people message me about my last live a couple of nights ago on some things I said. And so for me, my goal always is not to tell you what to think or even not necessarily how to think, but I'm asking you to think. And I know I don't claim to be this master researcher or anything, but when I have a conversation with somebody, especially something that's very real in our lives right now, affecting all of us, and I think a lot of people are pretty over the pandemic or want it to be over, I want to be able to have an intelligent conversation. That's why I said what I said last time. I don't mind, I don't really care, to be honest, what you think or what side you're on. I just want you to actually use your brain to process the information so that if we ever have a conversation, that we can have an intelligent one. And because I just had too many conversations with people just spewing a bunch of stuff, their opinions, and they don't know any facts or have not really done the research. It's just really just a lot of regurgitation. And of all people, I had a quick conversation with my brother today. He came back. He's back for a week taking care of some of his business, but had a quick conversation with him about the pandemic and the vaccines and all that stuff, and it was great. My sister-in-law, she's a nurse, and first of all, I just want to say thank you to all the people on the front lines for doing what you're doing, the doctors, the nurses, the immunologists, researchers, right? Because you're the ones who are actually on the front lines and seeing everything. So number one, I want to say thank you so much for doing that. Just chatting with my brother, it was actually really a great conversation. Because he's done his research and he's got some facts, and we just had a great conversation about it. Just too many people don't know anything and they start spewing a bunch of their opinions, and it's just very tiring when you talk to somebody who is not using their brain. And that's my biggest thing is, again, I just want you to use your brain. Common sense, unfortunately, is not very common, and I get that. In general, human beings are more emotional than they are logical. I get that, especially when it's affecting our lives right now, right? However, I believe that for us to move forward together as a society, we need to start using our brains. We can't just be emotional about everything. That's like the animal kingdom people. Okay, we're human beings. We have the ability to actually think on a higher level. Unfortunately, too many people are too lazy to actually think or do some research or actually analyze data. Or having conversations, intelligent conversations, okay? And so, so let me talk about the I guess anti-vaxxers. Now, my question to you is, for those who don't believe in the vaccine or anti-vax or my question is, why do you believe what you believe? Why do you think the way you think? Do you even realize why? And what I find is that so many people in this world, anti-vaxxers or not, are so unaware of who they are, what they believe, and why they believe what they believe, and what's actually important to them. And when that's the case, it's hard to move forward as a society, because then you just become a sheep. You listen to a certain perspective, and now, because you're biased, you want to confirm that what you're believing, what you're feeling is right. So when you hear somebody say something, you pick out what you believe or you want to be right. based on how you're currently thinking. And my hope and encouragement to you is whatever you're thinking, that's great. Hopefully you've done some research, but more importantly, I hope you actually go seek out the other perspectives and actually do some research there. Because how can you really have an intelligent conversation with somebody if you only know what you think and only speak to people who think the way you think? A simple question to you is, whatever side you're on, I really care. Is there a possibility that you might be wrong? Is there a possibility? If you don't think there's a possibility, then I hate to say it, that you're part of the problem. Because the truth is, and the reality is, that we do not know everything about this virus. We don't. Even the experts don't know everything about it. And that's okay, because things are constantly changing. That's the one guarantee we have in this world is change. And well, the mutations and all the new things that are coming out, especially with tests and everything, we're learning more about the virus. So we have to adapt. No matter what we thought before, we have to adapt as things change. And it's okay to adapt, right? Obviously, we all want certainty in our lives so that we can have a certain feeling, right? Really, that's what it is when you think about it. We want a certain feeling, so we're trying to grasp onto certain things. But that will not help us move forward in the pandemic. Because this virus, whether you want to believe it or not, is actually real. I just caught it and I went through it and I'm sharing you my freaking journey. To be honest, it's a lot easier if I didn't share as I was healing. I'm just telling you the truth. But I believe that it helps people to see a perspective, right? And just think about this, people. By this time, most people have made up their mind. It's been 2 years into the pandemic, right? Most people have gotten a certain amount of information and they kind of already made up their minds on what they believe and what they don't. But my encouragement, again, is to seek out the other perspective and try to do some research there, okay? You got to look at both sides or even a third perspective if you really want to have an intelligent conversation. And so when I talk about anti-vaxxers, I don't know if a lot of you guys realize this, but including the anti-vaxxers, what I found as a constant between all of them is that at some point, that all anti-vaxxers that I've talked to anyways, at some point in their life have had an issue with authority. Whether it be a parent, whether it be a teacher, the law, cops, counselor, whatever, it doesn't even matter. At some point in their life, especially when they're younger, they've had an issue with authority somehow. And then what that did was to start to question people in authority. And if you think about the government over the last 20, 30 years, I think most of us definitely question politicians' motives. And can we trust them, right? Because so many of them every year, every election, promise a bunch of stuff, but they don't actually follow through, right? So obviously, that's normal. That makes sense, right? We question, okay, is the government actually telling us the truth? But anti-vaxxers and conspiracy theorists, those are people who really take it to the extreme. Their issue is not necessarily the facts or the numbers. It's more about they question where the facts are coming from. So they question the source, authority. Because somewhere along the lines, they've had an issue with authority. And, maybe you're one of the few anti-vaxxers that don't. But every person that I've talked to, and even lots of other people have talked to anti-vaxxers, it's the same thing. They've always had an issue with authority, people in authority. So if you're one of the anti-vaxxers, that's my question to you. Have you had an issue with authority in the past, growing up, in some way, shape, or form? And if so, is that possibly biasing how you're viewing the pandemic? Because, I hear a lot of people talk about, I don't trust big pharma. Okay, well, what does that have to do with anything with science? Well, I don't trust, the government or, the New World Order. And, all these things that I remember at the beginning, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I just lost a lot of respect for people who just spewing a bunch of stuff that they haven't really actually thought about or thought through. And so I'm just sharing some thoughts tonight. Actually, I can't go through everything. If you really want to have an intelligent conversation, let's chat. I'm always up for a chat. But I'm just throwing some thoughts out for you to think about, right? And so, excuse me, if you're pro-vax and you're talking to somebody who's anti-vax, just think about that, right? Think about why they think the way they do. And really the biggest thing I can say is just plant some seeds, right? If they're not really open to anything new, just plant a seed. That's that's what I would say, because again, so many people are unaware of why they think the way they do, or why they believe what they believe. And unless each individual is willing to actually take responsibility and start to analyze themselves on the inside, that's what I call the hard work. It's hard for people to actually change the point of view or perspective. But I'm asking you, if you're watching this, is to, again, I don't care what you think or what side you choose. I still believe we're all part of the same family, the human family. But I'm asking you to think. Just use your brain, people. Come on. It takes some energy, yes, but please use your brain and start to think about things, facts, numbers, and try not to let your biases get in the way of your thinking, okay? Because right now, I believe that's what we need. People that actually use their brains. Stop just using emotions to make decisions. But, this live is a little longer than I want, but I just want to, I'll do a quick recap of what the vaccines are for. Do you even know why vaccines are here? And if you don't know the answer, then again, you're probably very unqualified. Number one, vaccines are here to help slow the spread of the virus. Why do we want to slow the spread of the virus? So that we don't overwhelm the healthcare system. Because if we overwhelm the healthcare system, there's going to be a lot of unnecessary deaths. And there may be a lot of burnout of doctors and nurses, which, guess what? It takes 4+ years, and in many cases, 10+ years, to replace a nurse or a doctor. So if we overwhelm and burn out all of our healthcare system, we're basically screwed. So we can't do that, right? And vaccines, and even if you're double vaxxed, does not mean that you are invincible. And again, please educate yourself. I was talking to my mom. I love my mom, but she's very uneducated when it comes to this stuff. And she said that her doctor said that she was invincible and she cannot get the virus. I was like, is it possible you misunderstood the doctor? She's like, no. Because all my friends say the same thing. And then I remembered my mom is never wrong. So I said, okay, well, I would encourage you to talk to another doctor and see what they say. Because, the truth is, guys, if you're double vaxxed, or even if you've had the virus like I have, yes, we have antibodies, but that's just protection. You have some protection against the virus. It doesn't mean that you're protected from the virus 100%, right? So just because you've been double vaxxed, just because you've had the virus, whatever, it doesn't mean that you can't still be infected, and it doesn't mean that you can't still spread it. So you still gotta, still gotta be smart about it, people. Okay, just remember why we're doing all these measures. Right? When I came back, I quarantined for 14 days. Right? So what does that mean? I did not spread it, and I kept it myself. Right? And I double checked with everyone that I was close with, and nobody had any symptoms. Right? So for me, I believe that's part is being a responsible citizen. Right? It's just understanding how things work and why we're doing what we're doing. Again, I want you to use your brain, people. Come on now. Right? And do what's right for society and for the people around you. Because we do have to protect each other. Okay? But you got to understand why we're doing what we're doing and how everything works. If you don't understand that, then, yeah, you're going to question authority. You're going to question everything that's happening and be all emotional. And so, okay, anyways, this is a long enough live. Again, please do some research. Please use this beautiful thing called a brain to learn both perspectives, okay? And understand that things are constantly changing. Okay? That's my hope with this live tonight, okay? Just use your brain, people, okay? Use common sense. It's not that difficult. You just gotta put some energy towards it, okay? I'm still recovering and I'm doing this live, okay? So anyways, hope that helps you. Anyone want a conversation, please do some research and message me. We can always have a chat, okay? Anyways, love you all. Have a great night.